Welcome back to the tea shop. Tonight we're working on the Rusty Rod tow truck here. As I'm filming this, we have 943 subscribers. Thank you. I have a feeling by the time this is edited and published, it'll be over 1,000. I was really not expecting this to go this big that fast. So if you're new to the channel, the Rusty Rod here has its own playlist. From now on, though, I'm going to make the video shorter. I know the 2-hour long Will It Run and Tow is a little intimidating, especially the sound quality. So I'm going to try and keep these 15-20 minutes. Maybe do one job at a time, a little more how-to. So tonight's project is we're going to swap these tires. The black wheels will match the backs better. These front ones leak a little bit, and these don't. It's nice to be able to run, grab this thing and go. So this is, we're calling it a 25. The cab is actually a 26 or 7, but everything else is older. So these are called clincher rims and tires. They have an odd size, there it is. They're 30 by 3.5, which is what this is supposed to have on the front of it. And in 26 and 7 they went to, does it focus on it? These 450 by 21, and they call them balloon tires. So the clincher tires run 55 pounds of air. Can you imagine airing that up with a bicycle pump? Because that's what they had. These balloon tires run 32 pounds of air. Maybe somebody can explain to me what the difference is. I know I prefer the look of the clinchers. So yeah, all we got to do is pop that cap off, take the wheel bearings off. There's a trick with the wheel bearings I need to show you. Then it's a pretty easy swap. So this is pretty easy. All we need is a jack and this tool, and this would have come with your Model T if you bought one back then. Most part suppliers carry these new. This is the new one. I think the old one, the original ones are better. These new ones seem to be a little brittle. I'm going to get a new hubcap. I need some rags on the back. I really got carried away packing these. There's supposed to be a cotter key in here, but I was in a hurry when I did this. Wires work too. When you're doing wheel bearings and stuff, it's better to have a box, but you just set them on a rag. The small end. Now pay attention to which ways these come off. There's a right and a left-hand thread. This actually should be left hand on the driver's side. But the spindles can be installed reversed. The whole axle can be put in backwards. You're just got to pay attention when you take it apart. Retainer washer, just like every other wheel bearing you work on. Now here's the tricky part. You use this hole, and these wheel bearings are actually threaded. So you got a double nut without a second nut. And it's real easy to strip these, so you go cranking on them the wrong way. can strip that spindle. Now I get the weight off of it. Now everything's loose. A Cook's Standard Tool Company jack. Model T Ford made their own. This one's a different design. I don't like it as much, but it's what's in the shop tonight. We'll do this I can't do it the dangerous way. I'll have to grab the camera here in a second. One right way. I'll get it set up to where I can do it one-handed. There, if you've never seen these in action, so this one's a little different. I actually had a screw type transmission jack, and I love that thing because it would never seat. Now these Model T jacks are a little dangerous because his foot's too small. Grandpa welded a big old plate on one I got with my 26, and it's way more stable. I got the parking brake working in this one really good, so. There we go. The annoying part about these bearings is you have to thread them all the way off. Thank you for joining the channel. My good buddy Gingerbeard isn't going to be with us for a while. Not only did it crash it, hit some pigs with his truck 10 days after he got it, his appendix went bad. Last I heard, he was getting that taken out. So he's a guy friend, so they know in, I don't know, a week or two. If he doesn't show up, I'll call him and ask him if he died. I think he's hanging out with his grandma in Texas. She's his Navajo heritage, and I thought I found a name we could call him because he doesn't like Gingerbeard. A Navajo name. And she informed me that the Navajo, it was going to be Lucky in Navajo. And she informed me that Navajo do not believe in luck. There's no such. And the word I found for lucky in Navajo on Google was made up. See what we got in here. We got a wheel bearing. Oh, it needs some grease. So we'll be back when I clean all this up and put it back together. Well, we got this all cleaned up. Now these are the later ones. This is a bearing like you're familiar with. The earlier cars had ball bearings where you'd have a race and a cone, and you'd have to feed in a ball bearing one at a time. I got one of those out in the junkyard, but it's getting dark and I can't go find it. So these bearings, I got them cleaned up. They're a little worn, but we're not going very far or very fast. If you're going to take something on tour, you want to have good wheel bearings because you'll get a death wobble when they get loose, and good luck where you end up. Here's a trick I learned on equipment. They have these needle greasers for U-joints. So the messy way of packing bearings, you can squish this in between your rollers. It's not as good as packing it by hand, but every now and then, and I learned this in farm equipment, you can get at a bearing, but you can't get it off. You know, you take, whether a shaft runs through it or just weird circumstances. So you go around, poke this down between, fill that cavity with grease, spin it a couple times. I should have started it this way. You see, I managed to get grease all the way through that bearing that way. Could use a little more. I don't think I'll do it again. So I've been doing my research, watching how the other guys in this genre do things, you know, the masters. Got to give them the credit because it's due. We're basically billing for making the genre of car repair. And, you know, vice grip always says feller and Pellet and this guy. My brother used to talk like that. And for the life of me, I cannot remember. I'm guessing it's from a TV show. What's that from? You guys know, I'm guessing be early, late 90s. The other thing is, what's unique about the T's, the original dust covers were felt, or leather. This is the modern replacement. But instead of riding on the spindle, this actually rides on that bearing shoulder, which is kind of clever. So if you chew up a bearing, then you don't have to, or scar up a spindle, your dust cover will still seal. Okay, not that hammer. I know you're taught to use a block of wood or a seal driver, but if you're careful, you can work a seal in just like this. Yep, I'm about to bend it. People are watching, so it's not going well. Just like backing up a trailer. You can do it perfect when nobody's watching. That needs to be a little deeper. There we go. I think I want a little more on it, actually. That should keep the dust and dirt out. Now we'll do the same with the front bearing, and we'll be back when we assemble. Now install, you set these, you just thread this in and set it just like you would any other wheel bearing. How do you guys set your wheel bearings? I've heard a couple things. Like on a semi, for example, I've heard you want to move it in until you can hear it, but not, is it feel it or not hear it? Where you wiggle the tire and you can hear it clicking back and forth, but you can't feel it. I had another guy tell me to get better gas mileage on a car, you set your wheel bearing just a touch loose. Your rotor will sit in there and knock the pads back so they're not dragging. Gain a little MPG, sacrifice your brakes. They'll be a little squishy if you do that. Another note I've learned is if you have a wheel bearing going out, you lose your brakes because it'll do that. It'll rock back and forth and push your pads back to where you have to pump them up to get them to work. I may or may not have had to drive a pickup around like that for a short while. Don't worry, I kept it on the farm. It was my farm pickup. Made checking water and turning corners a little interesting. All right, just cleaned up, dirty again. I don't know why I enjoy this threaded. I'm sure when these are rusty, they're a pain in the butt. I've never had one quite that bad. Oh, I think I remember now. Semi is where you can feel it but not hear it. And this one's a little tough because that is my kingpin rocking back and forth. So these tees, and they'll give you a terrible depth wobble. Your kingpin bushings will be okay, but the pins itself, it rusts in that top. Try and get you out of a shadow. Will get loose. There's a kit to repair that. If you ever run across that, you got to do it. The depth wobble on a Model T is not fun. A Model T isn't fun. Now, grab the spindle, I guess. We're just going to have to call that good. I should have cleaned all this up better, but again, we're not going far or fast. I don't know why I just cleaned my hands. I knew I was going to get greasy again. Wandered around the shop for 5 minutes looking for the tub of rags we just bought. The tub of hand cleaning rags we just bought. There's the hole. There. Too dirty, can't find the hole. We gotta keep things clean. I better stop there. We're not trying to be rated R, even though we are, but we try and stick to PG-13. Though in editing, I've caught myself, I swear more than I realize. Even when I'm sober. That's kind of scary. That's a pretty good wire, we'll just use it again. I got cotter keys in the toolbox, but then I'd have to stand up. I should change this cap, but there we go, we're done. I am going to change that cap. This other one is narrow. I think that's a brass cap. That's an old one. send stuff flying. Use the greasy rags to wipe the grease all over your fingers. Bad, but I think that's better. I do. Look even better once we get fenders and running boards on it. A good buddy comes back from Texas. He's supposed to bring some stadium lights he found. We're going to hang up there. Get rid of our, we like the sun in there. There I'm out in the shadow, so before, after. Well, friends, remember when I said this axle could be installed backwards? This one is. We have left-hand threads on the Buster side. So one of these days I'm going to have to get ambitious and pull this axle out and flop it around. Come on, sir. Give me 2 minutes time. Come on. Probably shouldn't have my feet under it. Fine. Well, this is a new Model T problem. I think it requires a hammer. Well, this may be a problem for another day. The wheel bearing is seized onto the spindle. So thank you for watching. I have some questions for those who are still viewing this now, or my dedicated viewers. I actually shot a 500 subscriber thank you video last night, and we're already at 1,000. This channel's growing. So my questions to you guys are, what do you want to see more? We're going to start merchandising as soon as I can. What would you like to buy? I actually asked my mom a couple months ago to come up with a logo. She's actually an art major, and she doesn't know I'm doing YouTube, so she looked at me kind of funny. I'm going to have to tell my mother I'm doing YouTube, I guess. There's a lot of T stuff coming. I mean, we're going to do real-time engine swap in this. Rusty Rod, there's going to be a bunch more to it. If you don't like Rusty Rod, do you have a better nickname for this? I'm terrible at names, so help me come up with names. We have the 25, we're going to try and drive home. It's got to get running. We got that. You know, partial truck and the Rusty Rod in action video. It's going to be a full restore. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm currently high bidder on a 24 coupe. Good buddy's got a 2-door lined up in Georgia. We're going to try and drive it home. That would be fun, but that may fall apart. Next spring, I got my grandpa's last pickup. We're going to try and get back home 900 miles from Minnesota. We're going to do a more extensive driving video. I'm going to teach little brother Blackbeard how to drive a T. That should be fun. My other idea and this may turn out to be popular, is if you have a Model T and we were all getting older and fatter. If you need some help, get it going again, so you can drive it one last time. I know the guy I bought my first Model T from, he was so scared I was going to hot rod it or do something dumb with it. But I got it running and driving, brought it out to his place and gave him a ride around his yard. And that 90, what was he then? 2-year-old man, I made his last 2 years of life. And it was neat. He had a Model T he was restoring and just got old. And I was hired to work on it a little bit. So I'd work on a couple hours, go sit and talk to him 20, 30 minutes. He was laid up in bed by then. And the lady taking care of him said he would just be in his sleep, getting that Model T ready to go. So yeah, or if you're have a family member that owns a T but is in a nursing home or something, good buddy and I would be more than happy to come out, get it running. There might be some stipulations, but yeah, get it running and give your family member one more go in their T. And teach you how to drive your T so you can take your family members in the T's again. I mean, these are fun and they're addictive. You'd think they'd be boring, but you get attention everywhere you go. Off the T stuff, this channel grows a lot. I want to do some parts, just so I have them in stock. I would have loved to put new wheel bearings in here tonight, but they're 5 days away. And my closest T store is Iowa. There's 2 in California, 1 in Pennsylvania. Langs is in Massachusetts. So having one central located might be nice for some of us. Non-T stuff, I don't know what you guys like to see. The 3,000 miles I just did in my old Ford got a lot of likes, got a lot of views. According to analytics, nobody's actually watched the video. I got 0 retention on it. I'm going to re-edit and reapply it, but do you want to see more of those? Do you want to see more OBS repair stuff, which I haven't done? My dually needs a transfer case and some tips and tricks on that. There's a Super Duty 7.3 on Facebook I keep seeing, but I've got myself talked out of it. Would you like to see me get that running and bring it home? The farming stuff is the next thing. I mean, it'd be real easy to video me getting my combine ready to go for harvest. If there's any interest in that, let me know. Like I said, I'm asking you guys to help me help you get a better experience out of my videos. So yes, thank you for subscribing. Please like, please share. Please communicate with me. Let me know what you want to see. Thank you. I'll do the other side of this off camera, and there'll be some driving videos one of these days. I'm actually working on sorghum, picking up bales, and that's not going well. Then I got my wheat planted. Got about 2 more weeks of hard work, then things will free up for me again. So we're, at the 500 subscriber mark, we can start doing memberships. What kind of membership benefits would you guys be interested in? I've thought about requests for how-to videos, question and answer sessions. There's actually a really good opportunity. They're putting fiber in my area. We can do live streams if I can get fiber. Something else we can do, we can't do it often because I have problems with alcohol. Actual physical health problems, so I only try and drink once a month. But we already have 2 videos of us partaking while working on stuff in the shop. If you like watching drunk people, they are pretty funny, even though I get pretty out there and it's hard to follow me. And actually, when we were doing Rusty Rod here, the first video, it was our town harvest fest, and good buddy was partaking a lot. God, there's a lot of stuff I had to cut out of that video. He was going to molest some chickens. I don't know why he was on that night. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I wasn't a YouTube watcher. The funny story is the 25 TT, it was close enough to home. I was like, hey, good buddy, it'd be fun to get that running and drive it home. We've done this with other stuff. And he says, oh yeah, just like a run and drive video, just like ViceScript does? What? And my fault. I've actually seen one of ViceScript's videos before. It was that orange ramp truck. Then I watched it and yeah, I've worked on a basket case. Like I've been a part of that kind of thing before. You're far from home when your horse dies and you have to find another one. I mean, that is stuff we actually do. The problem with being a good mechanic is that you're a good mechanic. I've been approved for an auto loan twice, and I get down to time I'm making a payment on the rig, paying for insurance. I'm looking at them figures like I could rebuild the engine and transmission and do half the interior and the stuff I already got for the same amount of money. And what I'm buying is only going down in value where my junk is leveled off. It's junk price. It'll actually improve in value when it's running. So yeah, I mean, comments, suggestions? I'm gonna have to watch a live stream just to figure out what it is. Podcast, I have a pretty good idea. There's two guys yakking about something, you know. And suggest, I don't know, there's a few other Model T channels you want us to try and collaborate with somebody. I'm pretty independent. I mean, the OBS stuff, sure. We have talked about if we get big enough, the Model T go out and flex a Jeep. It's like take a Model T and go play an off-road challenge with somebody, see how far we get. There's also an aftermarket kit, and we're going to have to get, this is years down the road because I need to put together a machine shop. But they made a four-wheel drive Model T adapter kit, and that would be cool to have a four-wheel drive Model T and put it up against modern stuff. Because my two-wheel drive Roadster will go through places where a pickup, even my Gator, needs four-wheel drive. Well, the Gator had rebuilt tires, but yeah, because usually once a summer when things mellow out, things never mellowed out this summer, but I just drive Model T for a week. It's kind of fun, daily drive Model T. It's half the reason that pickup screwed up, you know, Good Buddy's pickup, because he was daily driving that and it started an oil leak, bad oil leak. Well, thank you for subscribing. I mean, I'm kind of excited about this, and I haven't been excited about much for a while. I guess a year ago, I was pretty excited to meet my now ex-girlfriend in another country, but that fell apart. This is going to be tough to edit. Settle down. You know, run and drive in a Model T is pretty tough because they only do 30, 40 miles an hour. But if you have a Model T and you've gotten to where you can't quite get it going again, if you have a family member that owns a Model T and is, you know, too old to get it going again in a nursing home and want to make their whole year, send Good Buddy and I an email. There's an email link on my page on the Red Beard Adventures. You probably have to pay for parts, but we would do the labor for free. As long as we get a videotape it. And let's try this again. So I've been kicking around ideas for videos. I mean, these tees are fun to work on, fun to restore, but that we can get teed out. It would be cool to do some videos. I know run and drive is popular, but like Georgia, if we do that one, is 1,200 miles. I mean, that's going to take days. The 900-mile trip to get my grandpa's last pickup is going to be 2 days of working on it, 3 days of driving it, if things go well, and they never do. So we'd like to do something a little more that wouldn't be such a time constraint. Is if you have a Model T and you've gotten to a point where you can't work on it no more, it happens. I mean, I think that's half the reason my grandpa died, is he couldn't see no more to work on his teeth. He just had cataracts, macular degeneration. This Model A, the last one he restored, I mean, there's places you can see he was trying to use a screwdriver, couldn't find the screw. I miss Grandpa. Have another drink. But if you or a family member has a T and you'd like to see it running again, especially if you give the family member that owns it a ride, or let them drive it one more time, that'll make the rest of their life. The man I bought my first T from, he was so terrified I was going to hot rod it or do something dumb with it, because he sold one other T to another guy and he hot rodded it. I got to thank my mother for this one, because she didn't let it go. I was 13 at the time. Grandpa just taught me how to drive a Model T. And this guy has a collection. There's still a collection at that place. A good buddy and I are hoping we can get that. Kind of, we're not involved, but the land's in dispute. If the one side wins, then all the T stuff there is ours. We just got to pick it up. Lost my train of thought. Have another drink, friend. So that man was he was born in 1915. He's probably 92 at the time. And he wrecked his back. I mean, this man was still farming, running a farm, a multi-million-dollar farm, to be honest with you, at the age of 92. And his eyes got bad, and he's having a grandson driving around, a grandson that didn't, I shouldn't say that. Let's start over. So I bought my first Model T from at that time he was 90 years old. Still running a farm, still farming, his eyes were just getting bad. And he was so terrified. I paid more than I should have for this first T. Because the last T the guys he sold got hot rodded, and he was so scared I was going to hot rod and ruin that Model T. And I got that Model T running, and it was a TT truck like these, but a wooden cab that was cut off. It was a Jifro Clampett looking thing. There'll be lots of pictures when I do a video on that one. It's buried in the back corner of the shed. I made the rest of that man's life by going around his yard a couple times, like around the block. So I am telling you, if you have a family member that's gotten too old to play with their T, or you are, send us an email. We'll get her going again. Teach you how to run it so you can give your family member a drive. I mean, my grandfather loved taking his touring car to the nursing home and giving all the old ladies a ride, because they always had stories about the T. Made Grandma jealous. I think that was half the reason he did it. And even when I first started taking mine to car shows, I got stories, local history from, she was a 95-year-old woman telling me things about my own family I didn't know. And at that time, there were no real roads. They drove the Model Ts along the embankment of the railroad tracks to get to the big city. Well, you're going to figure out where I live eventually. To get to Denver. I think Highway 6 was there, but the highway I live on wasn't, so they used the railroad tracks to get to Highway 6 and get to Denver. If you know more about that, let me know. So I hope I can get this T. There's one I got my eye on. I don't want to say too much about it because it might screw me or mess things up. But there's an old man I knew, the man I bought my first T from. And I worked on this. Sorry, the camera did something funny. So there's an old man I knew, the one I bought my first T from. And my first T friend, we'll call him that. And he was restoring a 1915 touring car. And this was important to him because he went back to his homestead, dug around in the sand draw and the junk pits until he found most of the car was gone all the way, but he found the fenders. So the Model T that when he was 9 years old, he broke that. He was trying to crank start because they didn't have a starter in 1915. That this Model T broke his arm when he was trying to get to school when he was 9 years old. And when he was 92, he hired me to put a motor in it. Unfortunately, this T never got finished. It's very close. I hope Good Buddy and I can get our hands on it. I hope it's even still there. Because you know when people die and there's disputes over property, stuff disappears. Yeah. I have to edit this tomorrow. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I mean, I am definitely excited about this. Let me know your thoughts, comments, what you'd like to happen. I mean, if this grows enough, I can let go of the rented ground on my farm and focus on YouTube. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I don't give a fuck. I don't mind having my life out there. Actually, we just broke up. Well, we just quit talking to each other. But my ex-girlfriend and I live a rough life. I mean, I really do. Some of it by choice, because I like things rougher, and other things where I've chosen a hard path in life. I live a little rougher, so it makes it tough dating American women. Because, yeah, my house doesn't have central heat. My house doesn't have air conditioning. Well, it's got an air conditioner in the bedroom, but I live kind of rough. I was struggling dating American women, so I thought, well, let's try somebody outside the country. I mean, we're actively discussing being on 90 Day Fiance just because they pay a couple grand an episode. So let me know what you want to see, any ideas. I don't mind putting my life out there. I'm not going to do anything weird, I guess, that's outside of my normal, I'm not even calling it that. I mean, we're hoping to run and drive the Model T 900 miles home from Minnesota. Good Buddies aren't going to do that for fun. We're going to put it on camera, so even if you guys hate it, when I'm 90 years old in a nursing home, I hope I don't make it that far, but I'll be able to entertain myself as long as YouTube's still there. Well, thank you. Good night. Shut up, you drunk fucker.